Hey friends, thanks for joining in. This is just Janet. I'm taking biblical stories and real life experience from myself and helping you cut through the noise of society and generational noise, and most importantly, the noise in your mind. So let's get started. Today, we're talking about patience, purpose, and settling the muddy water. But boy, oh boy, patience. This is a tough one for me, so much so that I really struggled with my purpose and didn't even realize that patience was sometimes all that was needed. Let me share part of my story. I felt a calling in the past year or so to change my focus in life and make a career change. This was reinforced by a sermon about dropping your nets and following Jesus. So I wandered over to my pastor and shared what was going on in this impatient, confused mind of mine. I shared that I knew I was being called to something bigger than myself and to share my story, but I wasn't sure what I was being called to exactly. And I wasn't sure how I was being called to share my story. Then my pastor said the game changing words. Sometimes he doesn't want us to drop our nets in that instance. Sometimes he just wants to know that we're willing to do so. Oh, okay. So I know I'm willing, but now what? Probably my exact response. Now I was to work on centering myself on him. So there were some practical steps to take, including the decision to become a submersive believer, prayer, meditations, all the things that I share that helps me in I think almost any situation. So I did that. And as I did, my focus started to narrow in on those callings. The muddy water began to settle, and I started allowing the Father to guide me. Oh, but patience. See, as I've gone through this process, I still find the urge to, up and quit my job and just be at that next level of my future. As a matter of fact, I did that just last week. A dear friend had to remind me several times over the course of one conversation, be patient. As a matter of fact, she just reminded me today, be patient. I always find comfort when I can relate to characters in the Bible who have similar behaviors to my own. When I'm trying to really work on something and I can relate to someone else in the Bible who also had to, in this case, be patient, right? So in this case, I'm reminded of Mary, not Mary Magdalene, but the Virgin Mary, Jesus' mom. So she and Jesus were at a wedding. And if you've heard of any of his miracles, I'm sure you've heard of him turning water into wine. From my understanding, it's his first public miracle. So they were at this wedding, and during the celebration, all of the wine ran out. So Mary looks at Jesus and says something along the lines of like, they're out of wine. Now, I've been to some weddings. I could imagine them running out of wine. But Jesus replies, why are you concerning me with this? But then he ends with, my hour has not yet come. What I hear there is be patient. Boy, oh boy. Could you imagine being Mary in that instance? Or at any point in her life? Talk about needing patience. She was chosen by God to carry the Son of God within her. Anyone who's been pregnant, I'm sure, can relate to the patience needed just carrying a child within you. Oh gosh, for my thing, I'm like, I'm just ready. I'm ready. After about weeks, I don't know, 12, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Knowing I have to be patient, right? Because it's not in the child's best interest. But for Mary, gosh, not only do you have to be patient as a mother, you have to be patient as a mother carrying Christ within you. So knowing who he was and what he was sent here to do, she then raised him into adulthood. I'm always wondering what my 3 kids are going to be like. Am I doing a good job, right? What are they going to grow into be without pressuring them? Try not to. Right? But man, she had to raise the Son of God into adulthood. Then in his 30s, like, she's ready. They're at this wedding. She knows he is the answer, right? To so many things, but at least in that moment, the answer to the wine. So she's been patient. She's ready for him to do what only he can do. His reply, my hour's not yet come. Yes, he turns water into wine. But I wonder what she felt like in that moment. See, this is a conversation I feel like happens within my mind. I'm going to sound crazy, but just with myself. Enough is enough. Just make it happen already. All the while ignoring what he is already making happen within and through me. Then my rational mind has to come back with, wait, it's not time just yet. Can you relate to this? Are you focused on results and the destination that you lose track of the journey itself? I have in so many ways, even outside of my purpose, things like my health journey. In my health journey, I found myself focused on the results that were showing up on that scale. Then celebrating the healthy and happy habits I'm learning and installing into my life. I just have to be patient with the results. I have to celebrate the journey. I have to trust in him and his timing. So how do we get there? How do we become better having patience? For me, it starts with cutting through the noise in my mind. That noise saying, I have to have it now. I was recently shared an amazing meditation called Rest in Natural Great Peace. You can find it on YouTube. It's a poem, and I'm going to butcher these names, but I'm going to post, it's in the description. But Nyoshul Khen is who wrote the poem that's being spoken. And then it's recorded by Sogyal Rinpoche. I'm going to post it. In the recording, he speaks about a glass of muddy water. He says something along the lines of, if you don't stir the glass, just let it sit. The dirt will settle to the bottom and the water will become clear. See, last week, that noise entered my mind. The noise of, I have to be at the next level now. I'm tired of waiting. Instead of letting that noise settle, not stirring it up, I allowed my mind to jump into overdrive. In doing so, my mind was murky, like it was the day I went to my pastor. It was unclear how to get to the next level. However, when I do allow it to just settle, for me, meditation plays a huge role in doing so. When I allow all of that murkiness to settle, everything becomes more clear. The second major factor for me is reaching out to my support system. So let me be very clear in regards to my support system. I'm careful not to surround myself with yes people. I went to my friend last week. It's like, I'm just going to quit my job. I'm going to figure it out. It's just going to happen. If she didn't say, yeah, you do that. They don't, whatever, right? I can do that enough for myself, right? I choose people who are where I want to be and who aren't afraid to tell me what I need to hear, even if I don't need to hear it. So she reminded me, be patient. She also reminded me that I'm already on the journey to my future self. I'm already living my purpose and he is already working through me. I just have to be patient. So she helped that dirt in my muddy waters settle. She helped me breathe for just long enough to get there, to get where I needed to be, to allow time to settle. The next thing for me, so this is number 3, is a gratitude journal. So I wake up every morning thanking God, thanking Him for the beautiful nature outside, to thank Him for all the blessings He's already given me. I thank Him for the difficulties in my life that drive me to make the changes. But I also write things down. So there's one thing to be thankful. There's another thing to be grateful. For me, gratitude is something instilled deep within that I can truly feel it. But I don't want to forget these things. So my health coach recommended me do this a couple weeks ago, and it's been a game changer. So she said, Janet, you do great at sharing wins. You do great at sharing things that you're grateful for. But write them down. That way on those really hard days, those muddy water days, you can go back. And she didn't use those words. I'm improvising a little bit, but she did say, so you can look back and remind yourself of all of the things you have to be grateful for. We were talking about my health journey specifically. So she mentioned the wins, but I did take it that step further. So that when I'm having a really muddy day, I can go back. Oh yeah. If my support system, maybe I don't have a chance to reach out to them right then. I can grab my journal and I can look at the things I've written down. I can remind myself of the wins I've already had. I can remind myself of how He's already working through me and in me. So I don't know all the answers. I don't know what you're struggling with. I don't know where you need patience, but I'm confident that if you do, if you follow His lead and not try to outrun Him, you'll get there. We all will. If you allow the dirt to settle, you're also going to enjoy the journey. So thank you all so much for watching. If you want to connect or talk through your muddy water, you can connect with me on Instagram. It's at justjanet87, JUSTJANET87, or leave a comment below. If you've enjoyed what you heard today, please like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Also, if you wouldn't mind, if you found any value here, please share it with your friends who may also enjoy this episode. Thank you again so much, and don't forget to continue cutting through the noise.